So we live together.
Yep.
We watch football together.
Yep.
We talk about football together.
Yep.
Why don't we just start a podcast?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eye Test. It's myself, Lyés, and my guy, CultureCams. Champions League final is set. The Champions League final is set. PSG will be traveling to Munich to play Inter Milan. It's going to be an interesting one, man. Obviously, you repping PSG out here. I'm for the first time ever, by the way. Repping Inter for the PSG for the first time ever. I'm repping Inter out here. Both semifinals are really interesting, man, for completely different reasons. And I think we got to start off by saying we were completely wrong because both of us predicted an Arsenal-Barcelona final. Both of them crashing out, but we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about how the semifinals went. We'll give a brief prediction on the final, of course, as well, too. But what did you make of the whole affair? Are you happy with the final as well?
I'm happy. Yeah. You know, I did want Barcelona there.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I did want Barcelona there. That's the team that I really wanted to win this competition. But I'm happy with the final. You know what I mean? Arsenal are not there. So I can watch it with my feet up. You know what I mean? I can get a beer.
And get a cigar.
I can get a cigar. I can just, this is football. I can enjoy it. You know what I mean? A nice summer's day out. So I don't mind that. You know what I mean? But I do think it's two teams that deserve it as well. That's the most important thing. So yeah, man, I'm happy with the final. PSG were the team that it's crazy because I really, really like this Inter team.
Yeah.
I really do, and I love the manager. I really like this squad, and I think they've got players that deserve it as well after being in the final, which I thought they were better than Man City in the final as well.
Yeah, I did as well too.
You know, so this team deserve it too. So yeah, I'm wearing the PSG colors. You know, I'm repping for Dembele. You know what I mean? But honestly, whoever wins this competition, I'm just gonna clap for them, you know.
Where do you want to get started on this? Inter versus Barca or Arsenal versus PSG? Which one do you want to kind of talk about first? Maybe we talk about the Arsenal game because that one happened the most recently.
Yeah, we can.
Arsenal knew they had a tough assignment, right? Obviously losing 1-0 at the Emirates, but it wasn't like the end of the world. It wasn't like one of those losses where you thought there's no way they can get back into it. However, I kind of looked at that first leg and thought to myself, it is going to be difficult. Not only because they're going to Paris, right? But I just look at the makeup of this PSG team, and I think they are going to get one at least in Paris. It doesn't change too much, but it means at least Arsenal got to grab two. Maybe even three.
Yeah.
And I looked at this Arsenal team, and I just thought to myself, do I see this Arsenal team traveling to Paris and getting 2 to 3 goals? I don't really, to be honest with you. Like that. Yeah, they had their chances. I mean, on XG, you could say they won the tie, but you kind of look at the quality of chances that they are getting. A lot of them are really coming from Thomas Partey long throws. A lot of them are coming from set pieces. And then when you look at the firepower that PSG had going the other way, like you always felt like they at the same time could hurt Arsenal. Yeah. So I did kind of think from the start that going down 1-0 at home and then traveling to PSG needing a result was always kind of going to be too much for them. But within 20 minutes, to be fair...
I couldn't sit still.
Bro, they had them on ropes, man. PSG, they couldn't get out of their own half at one point.
No, honestly, I think when you look at the task that Arsenal had, I said that the result losing at home was disastrous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to win at home or just cannot lose that game. I think that was a monumental... I think that was a huge loss, right? And a lot of people say, well, it's not that deep, we can go away. And listen, I thought they would win the tie before the tie got played. But once they lost at home, I thought PSG would go through just because, as you said, people, which I kept seeing, and this is where, again, I always don't get sometimes when people are talking the game, right, is when PSG went 1-0 up and everyone was saying, well, nothing's changed. We still need 2 goals. I'm like, do you guys genuinely think on the pitch, them players' mentality has not changed going 1-0 down?
The assignment remains the same, but the mentality changes.
Your mentality changes.
Yeah, for sure.
The panic sets in. You start rushing more. By the way, you still have to score one. When you go 1-1, if you go 1-0 up, we're even. We're leading the game. One more, we win it. Now when you're going 1-1. And you have to go 2-1. It's a completely different mentality. So I'm like, it's easy for us at home to say, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Not when they're standing in the what's the saying, Parc des Princes. When you're sitting in Parc des Princes or whatever you just said, and with the ultras and these elite level players, your mentality is going to change. So when Arsenal went 1-0 down, especially, I was like, yeah, this tie is done for me. It's done. Yeah, I couldn't see them do anything. And of course, they had their chances, as you mentioned. I personally, I do know Arteta's getting look. The throw-ins for me started getting silly, especially because like, the last 3 or 4, Partey didn't beat the first man. It's like he got tired, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? He got tired, but I do think like that kind of getting physical, put the ball in the mixer kind of thing was okay. You know what I mean? PSG have sensational footballers in the middle of the park who like to press, who like to evade that. Bully Marquinhos. You can get about with Hakimi and Mendes, maybe aerially, physics, maybe. I didn't mind that, but then it started getting a little bit. It started getting a bit left. Like, for example, the Declan Rice chance in the beginning, which he should have scored. More of that. Yeah. Declan Rice, Moreno, get in the box. Yeah. Saka, cross it in. Martinelli, cross it in. I don't mind that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think after a while, PSG started getting on the ball as well.
I think once they kind of survived the first 15.
Yeah, you got to weather the storm, innit?
And then the Kvara chance happened, and then you kind of just felt, okay, it's back to normal a little bit. What did you make of Arteta and his quote at the end, right? Because he's making waves with that. Is it... I mean, I get what his tactic is, right? I think at the same time, he's trying to take pressure off his team, put all the attention on him. But I don't know, man. Like, this might sound like flirting versus harassment, but I just find when he says some certain things, like, it doesn't land the way I think he wants it to land, right? Like, again, it's going to sound unfair, but when Jose says stuff like that, I feel like he does say it with a certain level of, like, charisma. That, yes, it's still outrageous when he says it, but, like, when Arteta says it, for some reason, I'm like, nah, like, you just sound like arrogant right now. You just sound like a bad loser at the moment. And I'm not trying to say Arsenal were horrible over both legs. I think they had a chance to go through. I predicted they would go through, and on the basis of the chances, they very well might have. But to come out and say, yeah, over the entirety of the tie, the better team lost. You guys weren't so superior to kind of come out with a statement like that. I don't know. For me, it didn't sit right.
Nah, do you know what is right? I do think he was speaking to try and, as you said, take the pressure off.
Yeah, I've seen managers do this forever. Yeah. It's not a new tactic, but it's just his And then he said something similar during the week as well, too. About Liverpool as well, too.
Yeah,
he was saying, like, I think we won the Premier League this year or something.
He said last year we would have won. The last 2 seasons, we would have won the title with Liverpool's point tally, basically.
No, but he's just saying some weird stuff. And then Enrique even said, like, no, I don't agree with him. Like, don't try and lump me into this. For me, it was bizarre, to be honest with you.
Do you know what? I think sometimes you see the effects of a manager that hasn't won major trophies. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, sometimes you see that. And I think with some of the comments, as you mentioned the last week about the Liverpool thing, mate, as he basically said, look, every season is different. I mean, yeah, we know that. And you didn't do enough this season. Yeah. We don't care about 22-23. And we don't care about 23-24. You didn't win the league. You know what I mean? The season where it required a lower point tally, you're still participants in that league. Yeah. You didn't get to the point of you did last year. So guess what? You regressed. That's just the fact. So instead of talking about, well, we would have won it in the last 2 seasons, talk about why you didn't reach that tally this season. Yeah. That's basically what it should be. But so I think it is a little bit of deflection, you know what I mean? And he's talking about they're the best team in the competition. He didn't even just... by the way, he didn't just say in the time. He said best team in the competition. And I'm like, I mean, I can't really agree with that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm seeing some people say, well, it's true. We had a flawless campaign, beat Real Madrid, battered PSV and stuff. And okay, if they want to see it like that. But at the same time, Inter, who are in the final.
We're going to talk about Inter. They have some stats this year about them are crazy.
Inter, who are in the final, also finished in the top 4 too of the qualifying rounds as well. So we can't just say that. And I think Arteta, he even said specifically, we were the better team over 160 minutes of this tie. Take away the first 20 minutes of the Emirates. And it's just like, bro, what are you talking? You weren't necessarily the complete dominant team in this tie. Yeah. So it's kind of in this game. So for me, I know what you're saying. Like, you know, when managers speak post game, straight after a match, sometimes I give them leeway because me and you do content, bro. Yeah. When Man United lose,
where our heads are gone.
Sometimes we don't even know what to say, and you watch it back, and you're like, okay. You wake up in the morning, and you're like, I'm not actually that angry anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why did I actually
heat of the moment stuff.
Yeah, I went a bit too in on that. So, you know, we do that sometimes. So I feel like sometimes I don't really look into it.
I definitely hear it. The thing with me is like, is it a deflection tactic off his players, or is it now like Arteta is almost creating like excuses for himself and for his team?
I think he's I think
does he
Arteta,
genuinely believe what he's saying in terms of that's where I start to get a little like, do you actually believe that your team has just been robbed this entire season? It's a bad season because of injuries. You guys have done everything you can. You couldn't have potentially done any more. Like,
I think Arteta knows the Arsenal fan base. I think when he's talking to these press conferences, he's not talking to us. He's not talking to Lyés. He's not talking to Cam.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
Yeah, he's talking to the Arsenal fan base, and he knows he has them here. Whatever he says,
see, I don't know if I agree with that anymore, though.
I think so.
No,
bro. Whatever he says,
yeah.
they get behind it. Oh, if Arteta said we're the best, no, it's true. If Arteta says, before I looked to the side, I saw 7 players that are missing, and you're mentioning Tomiyasu, brother. I might as well play for Arsenal.
There's been an APB out for Tomiyasu for 12 months,
Do you know what I mean? I see 7 players. Galafiori, Marcel Skelly's better. Gabriel Jesus, they wanted him out a time ago. Zinchenko, bro. Yeah, but I know what you're doing, but yeah, and then they lap it up and they lap. I don't think, maybe some fans do, but I don't think Arteta's really challenged enough on what he says sometimes. So when he says things, he knows it's going to be lapped up. He knows he's brought Arsenal from the wilderness, as they say. Bro, I think sometimes he gets away with these type of... But we wouldn't let Ten Hag say that and get away with that. What? Bro, we wouldn't let... Bro, we wouldn't. But Chelsea won't let Maresca say... I know they're going to say, oh, but that's because we're good. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't think he's challenged enough.
When you're saying, like, everyone's eating out of the palm of his hands. Look, I know it's social media, and social media is not the best grasp of, like, I don't know, summing up an entire fan base. I completely get that. But I am looking at the Arsenal fan base a little and starting to see, like, what used to be, like, a solid stance, like a mountain. I think there is starting to be a little wobble, to be honest with you, bro. Look, there's certainly still guys who are riding with Arteta till the death. Like, they are behind this guy, but like till the end. But I am starting to see a few heads start to falter a little, to be honest. Because I think it's natural that there is starting to become a little bit of doubt and uncertainty that is it ever going to be us under this guy? I'm just saying what I see. I know, again, it doesn't represent the whole fan base. Match-going fans will always be behind him. But I am starting to see a few people kind of waver a little bit. And I think it's fair. I think it's perfectly fair. I don't think, listen, you know when people start doing like out and in brigades, I'm not interested too much in that, right? And I'm not even saying Arteta out. Like I said last episode, I think he's a great I think he's one of the best managers in the world. And I would definitely give him another year. But one thing I don't like, and I'm seeing a lot of people, like Sharky on SDS, he came out with that quote a few days ago saying, I'd rather have Arsenal for the next 5 years, rather be them than Arsenal. And I remember last year, he was saying, well, when City kind of fall off, we're best equipped to dominate the league. And I just think to myself, it never works like that, man. Like, I saw a great quote the other day where it's basically like, you can't keep thinking that like in the next 5 years, all these trophies that you're set to win. When the trophies are available to you, you win them. Because they might not be there tomorrow, bro. You don't know how things progress.
Football moves quickly. I always say that. That's one of my favorite sayings, right? Football moves quickly. Like, you don't know when a moment's going to happen. You don't know when a player is going to emerge. Bro, when Real Madrid was signing Mbappe or life was going great, did they know Lamine Yamal was loading up? You don't know what's going to happen in football, bro. You just don't. Did we know that Arne Slot is going to come in and win the title? We thought they were going to be in the wilderness for a year or two.
PSG this season.
PSG, Mbappe leaves, you're thinking, where's Kvara? He was even playing for the club. All of a sudden, Kvara's there. Now life is great. So you look at, you don't know. And people may laugh and think, well, who's a... How do you know Chelsea just ain't going to just do something and go on a mad run? They were flirting with it this season at some point. How do you know a team's not just going to emerge? You can't just keep saying, we're set to do this. We're set to do next year. Because as you said, trophies are getting collected. And each time a trophy is getting collected, it's not your player, your team. A player's thinking, am I going to win here? Saliba's got Real Madrid in his ear. He's not winning here. He knows he goes to Real Madrid, he's winning something within the first 2 seasons. So when you look at it, right, I don't think people can keep doing that and future. We're living in the present. And I saw a stat. Saka's not played in a cup final.
He didn't play for Arsenal.
For Arsenal. Yeah. He's only played in the cup finals for England.
Did he not play in the FA Cup that one year?
No. He was on the bench.
Damn.
So, you can check, but I know he didn't start it anyway. Saka, he hasn't played in a cup final.
But he didn't play left wing back that game.
No.
He weren't playing wing back under Arteta those days.
He was, but he didn't play in the final.
Damn.
So, like, you can verify that just to make sure, but he definitely didn't start. So I saw this, I was like, right, he ain't playing in the cup final. He's 24, bro. Yeah. Do you know how many Foden's played in, like, 1 million. You know what I mean? Like, who else, whoever is his age group has played in loads. And I'm like, players at some point are going to be like, yo, I want to win stuff. I want to play. I don't like this whole mentality of the future, because for me, that's actually kind of manipulation, bro. I think all of this kind of like, oh, we're building is manipulation, because you're basically telling people, yo, you can't see it yet, but you will soon.
Yo, watch One Piece, bro. It gets
You
good
will-
at...
yeah.
You ever seen that one meme? It's like, watch One Piece. It gets good by episode 6,000.
Yeah. You will soon. Oh, no, but that's not the time. It's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's come. Well, eventually you got to show me something.
Yeah,
you know
for
what I mean? And that's why I have my doubts over
I think
it.
next year is huge for them, man, honestly. Like, I know we say this every year, but I seriously think next year has to be the year that they have to capitalize, first of all, on this group. They have to capitalize on the market, and they have to take the next step. Because the thing with me with Arsenal, right, and the way we're talking, like, when you look at their season, it's not a complete catastrophe. They finished their, well...
I think it is.
I don't think it's a catastrophe. Let me explain. I'll let you land, but for me, it's not a catastrophe. Is what United and Spurs are doing right now. That's what for me a catastrophe is. It's an underwhelming season, and compared to the objective at the start of the season, it is. If you want to look up black and white, it is a failure. But it's not a catastrophe because if you look at it, they're poised to finish second.
Are they?
I said they're poised. That doesn't mean they're going to finish, but they're poised to finish second. They've made it to 2 semifinals. They went further in the Champions League than they probably expected. It's not the worst season of all time, but when you look at the trajectory that they were on before this season, the expectation is you get better, and you can handle slight failures because the trajectory points towards you getting better. This, for me, is the first time in the last 3-4 years under Arteta where it hasn't gone up. If anything, it's stagnated, and if anything, it might have actually declined a little bit. That's for me the big concern.
It takes one injury for your project to go left. It takes one. Okay, Saka, let's say, for example, next season, where you guys keep saying it's next season, match day 7, Saka gets injured again, 3 months.
I mean, that's what happened this year, yeah.
That's what happened. Then all of a sudden you're saying, it's not this year. This is why you need to collect in the present, bro. You ain't got to think about next year. You've got to collect in the present. And I think, though, I know you're saying it's not catastrophe. Okay, yeah, that's a United and Spurs situation. But I do think it's a very bad season, bro. I think it's a very bad season for Arsenal. You talk about what we thought going into the season. We have to be contextual. You think about Man City falling off and Arsenal not capitalizing on it. You think about them. How many points are they behind Liverpool? A lot. Double digits behind Liverpool when it was close at a certain stage. They got knocked out of the FA Cup by Manchester United, Amarims, who everyone's laughing at the Emirates. Newcastle held them to 2 back-to-back clean sheets in a semi-final, and then PSG knocked them out of the Champions League. That's not anything to praise. Again, it's trophyless, and they're going out with a whimper. The last 3 games this season now, you're about to go and give Liverpool a guard of honour, and the next 2 games, you're fighting to be second. Arsenal.
I mean, when you put it like that, yeah, it's not great.
Very, very bad. This is the worst season of the last 3.
Yeah, without a doubt.
By far. Yeah. Like, the seasons when they weren't in the Champions League, I'm giving it more respect than this season when they got to the semi-final. Like, I think this is a very bad year for Arteta and for Arsenal. I think this is, as you're mentioning, one thing that I think about Arsenal is their mentality, right? And I keep saying this. I remember actually getting pelters, for saying Arsenal's a bigger club than Inter. I remember that, saying Arsenal's a bigger club. You remember?
This. Yeah, me and you were debating this.
Yeah, Arsenal's a bigger club. And Arsenal is a big club. But honestly, their fans don't act like they're a big club. Arsenal are the one club that act like they're babies in this game. And maybe European-wise you haven't won anything and you haven't done much in the Champions League. But you're a big football club. You're one of the most supported football clubs in the world. One of the richest, one of the greatest stadiums. Some elite players, iconic history, whatever. But their fans act as if like they're a charity case sometimes. Raise your standards. Raise it, bro. Like, demand trophies. Demand success. Stop falling in love with the journey. That's what it is. They're in love with the journey. Arteta took us from Lacazette days and, oh my God, he saved us from the Pepe era. Great. That's amazing.
That's 5 years ago.
That's 5 years ago. Yeah. He has done an amazing job to make you guys well respected again. But now, while he's done that, your mentality's got to shift with it.
Yeah.
You've got to now start thinking, I have Rice, Gabriel, Saliba. We're ready to win. So where's my trophies? Not, Oh, I know, but oh my God, I got to remember the days where we were under Unai. Unai's moved on. He's his life and everyone moved on.
I seen someone say today, like, never forget the 31 shots we conceded to Watford. Like,
Move on.
Anyone saying anything about Arteta is crazy. Don't forget the
forget
31 shots. I was like, that's 7 years ago,
forget it, bro. Forget them moments, bro. Forget them moments. This gone. You've given him his praise for that. You've shook his hand. You've called him. You've given him a new contract.
Yeah.
That's why. Now, what's the next phase? Bro, I keep saying, my mentality now with Amorim has reduced compared to what it was under Oli. Because Oli had a team to win. We finished second. Jose Mourinho too. My expectations were higher for them. Like, yo, give me something. Now, it's gone back down because I'm like, oh, look at us. We're rock bottom. We got rubbish players. Build back again. You think in 3 years, if Amorim has all his signings and I'm going to keep saying, but I remember the Onana days, though. No! Give me trophies. Give me trophies. And I think as a big club, adjust your mind, bro. Inter, whoever, they demand trophies. They demand success. Arsenal's the one club where I'm talking about the major clubs in football, the Cat A, Cat B clubs in football. I think their mentality as a fan base is the lowest, bro. The lowest expectations, but personally.
Talking about PSG, let's talk about PSG for a little bit, because obviously we're talking so much about Arsenal. They ain't even playing in the Champions League final. The team that is a team that just ran through the Premier League, by the way. Yeah, you don't know how to say it. It's ici, c'est Paris.
Paris. Ici, c'est Paris. Ici, c'est Paris. Ici, c'est Paris.
But this is a team, right? And I'm not gonna say who said it, because I actually like the guy who made the take, but it was a bad take at the time. Who said PSG wouldn't finish in the top 4 in England? Let me tell you what they just. Shout out Lawrence McKenna. That's my dog. I like Lawrence McKenna a lot. That's a howler of a take, man.
Yeah.
That's a howler of a take.
They wiped the Prem.
I mean,
They backed everyone.
Man City in the group stage.
Yeah.
4-2.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool in the round of 16.
Mm-hmm.
Aston Villa in the quarterfinals. Arsenal in the semifinals. They just took the Prem's best warriors and dusted them out of there,
that's
bro.
What Real Madrid did in Benzema year.
Bro, the top 4 of last season in the Prem, they just knocked out.
Packed them up.
That's a crazy statement. And Enrique even said, like, we're the farmers, basically.
That was cold. That was cool. I couldn't believe he said that.
Yeah, nah, you know Enrique, man. He's got charisma.
I
like Enrique, man. I like Enrique. Yeah.
You know what?
He was doing Twitch streams at the World Cup. Remember that?
Honestly, honestly, I've got to give him his respect.
Yeah.
He has completely 180'd
I think PSG
in my
as
mind.
a whole have 180.
Yeah. To be fair, I hated PSG, but him in particular, like, I know I've said it, I think, to you before on this show actually, but it's just like when he won with Barcelona, I really liked him. Because I was like, yo, he's gone and done it his own way. I know he had MSN, but the diagonal balls, PK, boom, to Neymar. And who was the left centre-back for PSG at that time? I mean, for Barcelona at that time.
Mascherano.
So whoever was giving the other diags to Messi anyway. So there was diags that way. Yeah. And I remember Busquets was getting kind of not his greatest years them days. And everyone's like, oh, we're not playing through. But he did it his way. Rakitic was brilliant, taking some pressure off Iniesta and stuff. And I was like, I like it. And then for me, he just completely changed his style of football when he went to Spain. And I was like, oh, he's trying to be like a Pep. Like, I know Pedri was so integral at that moment, but there was a tippy-tappy. Busquets was playing and like 30-something. And I was like, I'm not really liking this. So I thought, all of a sudden, he's like a nothing manager. Like, he's kind of thrown away his principles. Then he gets to PSG. All right, again, maybe we can blame Mbappe and stuff like that, whatever people want to do. And I wasn't impressed. But this year, what he's assembled... Okay, is he the sporting director? No, but what the team assembled together and him, the football that they're playing, the press, the dynamic, the fact that he's transformed Dembele into a 9, and even just him as a person, he's completely changed my mind on him, honestly. I thought he just won their manager. Oh, you got a bit lucky, you had MSN. But nah,
he was the narrative for a little bit, but I think this has just reaffirmed that he is one of the best tacticians in Europe.
Very good coach.
But yeah, PSG just in general, man, their story this year has been absolutely ridiculous. I keep saying it. I've never seen a team halfway through a year just completely flick a switch. They were at one point on the precipice of going out. Forget about even the playoffs. They weren't even going to make the playoffs of the Champions League knockouts. They had to beat Man City. They were down 2-0 after 46 minutes. In that game, I was there. I watched it happen. The Dembele false 9 showed. It completely changed their whole season. And you look at them since that moment. I mean, they have the hottest player in the world in Dembele. in 2025. No one scored more. The football that they're playing is ridiculous. Mo Salah literally came out and said, like, I think we lost to the best team in Europe. At the moment, right, Barcelona have been great. Inter are ridiculous. These guys sit right up there. The football they play is absolutely ridiculous. And I like as well, too, that they stick to the way they want to play. And one thing I love about this PSG team, more than anything, and I think it's the biggest sign of improvement, there have been parts of this Champions League campaign where they faced adversity. It looks like things have gotten rocky. You think, old PSG is coming. And I think they've risen above that and kept their heads and stayed level-headed every single time. First leg when they lost to Liverpool, I think everybody thought, wow, you just dominated them and lost in that manner. Same old PSG. Vitinha literally came out and said, no, we'll go there. We're going to play our game. We're going to go through. They kept their heads, won on penalties at Anfield. Villa, there was that period in the second leg where it looked like Villa were onto them. Slowed the game down, got through it. This leg as well, too. I saw so many people saying, PSG, back in Paris. Second legs in Paris in the Champions League. We know how that goes. Again, stayed level-headed in those first 15 minutes, got the job done. That, for me, is the biggest sign of improvement of this PSG compared to the other ones. That PSG team in the past always used to collapse. They always used to fall apart in the biggest moments. This PSG team, they just seem like they have a little bit more poise. And we'll see how it goes in the final.
The thing is, like, it kind of draws parallel a little bit to Man City, when Man City finally won their Champions League. And
true.
You look at, obviously, they both had takeovers. They both have been to Champions League finals and lost. And then there had to be something that changed for Pep Guardiola in Europe. And he did that, meant the 4 centre-backs. He had a lot more of a defensive mindset in them moments. And yes, PSG's, maybe theirs isn't a defensive mindset, but it's how to weather them moments, how to understand when to calm the game down, the game management.
It's game maturity.
Game maturity, which they did not have even in their, whenever, Zlatan days, Mbappe days, they did not have it, right? So when I look at it now, this could be their tweak. This could be their moment. We always talk about how long it takes for takeover teams to win it. Chelsea, Man City, it took a little while as well. I think it's tough because you're going against a team that have European heritage. You're going against probably the best cup manager in world football in Simone Inzaghi. So you're looking at that and it's tough, but I do think you get in a sense of, it might be their time. You know what I mean? The story is also on their side, with the whole like Mbappe leaving thing, and they're refreshed and rejuvenated. Sorry. So I do look at it and I'm like, could it be their year? I think it's such a tough final, because same way the semi-finals were so tough to call, it's such a tough semi-final to call. But I think they are going into this probably in their best moment. You know what I mean? They are going in their best moment. They're going to rest their players for the rest of the league's campaign. So, I mean, look, and Dembele can get fully fit as well.
Yeah, I think that's a big one.
So they're going in, they're going in the best way. And then, I don't want to say PSG deserve it, innit? Because people are going to say, well, why do they deserve it more than anyone else? Because they've got a takeover, spent loads. But they have had some dark days in Europe, honestly. And it'll be nice to see them win it.
No, 100%. I think what sets them up well for Inter as well, too, is the individual quality that they have. Like, you were saying, like, with PSG, they don't score enough cutbacks, which is funny, actually, because the first goal that they scored against Arsenal is a cutback of sorts. The goal for Hakimi is effectively a cutback that eventually ends up becoming a Hakimi goal. The Ruiz goal is technically, it fell to him. But also, like, they have so much quality in terms of the chances that they create. It is just individual brilliance at times, but I always think when you have the best players in the world, when you have the best attackers in the world, when you have magicians like that, it's okay to rely on individual brilliance, because those guys are going to supply it to you in such a heavy abundance. When you have Kvara, when you have Dembele, when you have Doué, they are individually brilliant. Create those moments for me.
I think they need to be, though, like looking ahead, they need someone to be a game breaker like Lamine Yamal was against Inter to stop this Inter team. Hey, DeMarco is not going to have a harder night.
No, it's impossible. That's the hardest night he'll have this season.
Yes, listen. And that was really destabilizing Inter. They had to be putting 3 man on one guy, and he was getting past them. Like, what the hell? So, this Inter team, let's not forget, yes, they conceded 6 to Barcelona. They're the best team in Europe defensively. Probably.
Can I give you a stat about Inter?
Yes.
Because we'll talk about Inter now. This entire Champions League campaign, Inter have played over 1,300 minutes of football in the Champions League this year. They have been behind in those 1,300 minutes for 16 minutes. 16 minutes. They were behind for 6 minutes against Barcelona in the entire tie. They were behind for 6 minutes against Bayern Munich. They were behind, I think it was like 4 minutes against Leverkusen, which is the only game they've lost this entire tie. And then there was 2 minutes in another game. 16 minutes they have been trailing in this Champions League. They are the best defensive team in the game. Even with the 6 goals that they conceded against Barca, it's Barca. They can score against the best of them. They can score for fun. But that is one of the craziest records I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that just explains what Simone Inzaghi's.
They've been behind for 1% of the total time played.
Yeah, that's mad. I mean, if you're talking about the word team, you know, that's Inter. You know, I feel like when you look at Inter, everybody on their team does the specific job they are required to do, bro. Yeah. And there's no mixing it around. It's La Torre, you're there to sniff in and around Marcus Thuram. Thuram, you're going to be the hold-up man. You're going to bring people into play. He's going to do it. Hakan, Barella, you're going to be energy. You're going to control the game. Like, it's so structured and understood. The defense, we know what they do. It's so understood and structured that there's no, you know, there's always a sign of a team that's a collective unit when there's no, who's their best, who's their
star man.
Who's there at any given day? It could be anybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Who is that? And then you just look at it, it's a team game with them. Like, we're talking about, if Inter win it, who's the Ballon d'Or? And we're saying nobody's even close. In the Champions League final. Yeah. Nobody's even close. 3 years, yeah. Second in 3 years. That year too, who was going to win it? Nobody. So it's just a teamwork, and you look at how much they spent to even assemble this team. It was barely anything.
Yeah, no, they're
the
not
budget
rich.
that he's working
Inter
on.
Don't have a huge budget to work on. Like,
wages, they're like 15th in Europe.
There are a few players, like Barella cost a lot a few years ago. Bastoni cost a lot. Fratesi actually might be the most expensive player, and he hasn't even been like a starter for them. But yeah, it's a team that is assembled off a lot of, by the way, like forgotten guys. Like Darmian was basically an outcast at United. Mkhitaryan is 36 years old, just coming off of Roma. You look at even like Marcus Thuram. Marcus Thuram was a free signing that all of Europe had the option to get. They were the only one to take a chance on him. Summer, they sold Onana for 50 million to get this guy for 5. Look at how big he's been for them.
I mean, and then you got emerging players like Bissek. You look at that team, and as I say, I feel
they remind me a lot of 2010, bro. Honestly, they remind me a lot of that 2010 team in terms of like the underdogs. Yeah, and like
that team are veterans though.
But these guys
what was the average age of that team?
This team is older, bro. No? This team is old, bro. You know this team that they played in the Champions League semifinal. It's the oldest one since Juve in 2017.
Wow.
This team, bro. There was a stat before the semifinal was played, bro. I think there was 22 players for Inter this season that played over 500 minutes in all competitions. Of those 22, 12 of them were 29 or over. Of those 12, 5 of them, I believe, were 32 or over. Of those 5, 3 of them were 35 and over. It's an old team, bro. Acerbi's 37. Mkhitaryan's 36.
I think he's doing I think Inzaghi's doing the best coaching job in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I mean, we're talking about, if you're talking about all contexts, as you're mentioning, age, you're talking about budget, you're talking about how they assemble.
They don't have a lot of great depth either, to be honest with you.
They don't have great depth. And also,
I mean, like, shout out to Fratesi and Carlos Augusto. I'm not trying to diss those guys, but you look at what he's bringing on off the bench compared to like what other teams are bringing off the bench. Like, Taremi has not been great for them this season. Yeah. He's still giving them minutes in the Champions League semifinal.
I mean, didn't he got through the Bayern tie with Augusto and Darmian? And then now Dumfries comes and does that. So that's how much of a loss that he was. Dumfries and DeMarco come into the team.
Thuram was injured for a while.
Exactly. So you look at it, right? They've answered a lot of questions as well, because the one thing you will probably aim at Inter is, they're great defensively, but the game will be boring. Probably they're gonna sit back.
But I think that's the biggest myth with Inter. Yeah, they can play, bro.
Man 7. Yeah. I know people are gonna say Barcelona's defense, but they scored 7. They scored as much as they can see. They scored, so they showed another way of getting it over the line. Even against Bayern, I'm on record saying, I think Bayern. I don't think Inter were that great, and that they got through. Now they're here in the Champions League final, and they know better than anyone else at the moment. Doesn't matter about your performance in the final, bruh. Doesn't matter. Win.
Yeah.
Because history is not telling me anything about Inter being the better team against Man City. All I can see is treble. My Man City. So it doesn't matter. Jose Mourinho says it. Finals are not about performance. The finals are meant to be won.
Finals are meant to be won, not to be played.
There we go. Finals are meant to be won, not to be played. Simple as that. So Inter, I think, understand that. And I don't think it's going to be a game where... I always think finals are going to be cagey. always do. The only team I think that would not have made it cagey is Barcelona.
Yeah.
But I always think finals are going to be cagey. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to play, because our PSG, for example, going to play with that level of ferociousness that Barcelona do.
No, they have a bit more poise to them. Yeah,
If you let Inter rest defense though, they can lock you off. That's my
I think the thing of Inter, bro,
concern.
they can just. For me, they're the most versatile. They're one of the most versatile teams in Europe because they really can chop it up any way you want. They can sit in their low block as they showed against Barca. They don't mind suffering. They can suffer over the best of them. They can play a bit more in a mid block and kind of shut you down in that area. They can press you from high. They can go long against you. They'll kill you from either flank. They can play the long game to both center forwards. They can dominate in the center of the park. They can build up from the back. They can really beat you any way that requires, like based on the opposition.
Set pieces,
bro. Set pieces. That's how they beat. Bayern. Excuse me. Inzaghi really has this team set up that no matter what the assignment is, they can accommodate for the assignment.
It's a great final.
Yeah.
It's a great final.
But let's talk about Barcelona a little bit, because
final.
that was the team that I think. I mean, I was on the record saying it almost feels like destiny for them this year. Like the year that they were having, it reminded me so much of 08-09. Like it just felt like at the end of the story there was going to be a treble. And at one point in the semifinal, I mean, it's crazy because Barca, like I said, were only ahead for 6 minutes in the entire 210 minutes of both legs. But when they got that goal through Rafinha, they spent so much energy coming back in that second leg. They gave it all. Yeah. And when Rafinha scored that goal, you just felt, oh my God, they've done it again. They've done it again. They're going to go to the final. They've literally gone behind 2-0 for the second time in this tie, and they've done it again. And that Acerbi goal just killed them, bro. But I think that's the most impressive thing about this Inter team, right? Yes, people will say Barca concede goals a lot for fun. But they've shown all year that it doesn't matter how many you score, they can score one more. So effectively, with no away goals, after the first leg was 3-3, the task for Inter was you have to score more goals than Barcelona. Ladies and gentlemen, that might be the hardest thing to do in football in 2025. No one has shown you this year they can score more goals than Barcelona. Like, yes, it's a shootout, but they always win the shootout. Barca scored 6. Inter gave them 7.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we'll have to deep that. No one has been able to do that against Barca.
I think both sides need to be respected in that way, because there's a narrative on both sides. Imagine scoring 6 goals and not qualifying. Yeah. A little bit like Barcelona. Yeah. But then you've got a team. Imagine conceding 6 and qualify. Imagine if I said to you, to Inzaghi before, by the way, you're going to concede 6. Yeah. He's going to be like,
long. Yeah, facts.
Let me look at the
Serie A. We concede 6 to Barca. I'm done.
And if I said to Barca, you're going to score 6, they're going to be, we're through.
That's it.
But they scored 7. So you have to give respect. Honestly, those are them times where I'm like, I know we want to find a way to criticize Barcelona's high line. And you want to... man. Those
the one
them
thing I would
games,
criticize is game management. Because
after Rafinha...
3-2.
Yeah, I agree.
I think even Yamal, yes, he hit the post. But that's where you have to manage the game a little better. And then you look at the defensive shape on Inter's counterattack. It's like it's still the 60th minute.
No, I agree. I think at that moment...
You have to think about
Rafinha, lock it off.
Lock
off the game. I understand that 100%, right? But I do think it's one of them moments where you just say, do you know what? 2 teams gave it their all,
honestly,
left it on the line. Congratulations to whoever went through. I think sometimes you just got to appreciate that side of the game. You know what I mean? I know it was an end-to-end game, basketball game, but they gave everybody what they wanted. We're always going to remember that tie.
Do you think it's the greatest Champions League tie of all time? I think it might be, bro.
It's definitely up there.
Because you know what it is? Sometimes like we have these ties where it's like, one semifinal, one team batters them, and then the other one they come back. This one was literally back and forth the entire 2 legs.
No, it's incredible. Do you know what a really good tie was? It's not the same magnitude because it wasn't semifinal, but the Man United Real Madrid 5-4 tie was crazy. But anyway, I think this is up there. This is definitely a semi-final that I've seen, definitely. So
drama,
I'm like
goals,
I'm like, I mean, even the fact that for me they had the best player in the world playing in this game. You've just it gives this tie everything, you know what I mean? So I do think it's funny, I'm wearing a PSG top, but I actually do think Inter are gonna win it.
Yeah,
I actually do think.
Can we talk about Yamal a little bit? Because I mean, he missed that's for me the one thing of Yamal, right? Like the 2 chances that he missed. I think that's the next part of his game.
But why did he try to pass? He tried to pass that second one with the right foot.
I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about when he hit the post. Well, the post is a difficult one, but I'm talking about to be fair, there was that one where he tried to pass, but I'm talking about the one at the end.
I think
Even
that's one of
after
the-
Acerbi, where he shot it straight at the goalkeeper.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the side of Yamal's game that
yeah,
that's the next step for him. Let's be real, he's 17. He's not perfect.
Yeah.
He's damn near perfect. Like he looks
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
at times, but that's the next thing in his game.
Mhm.
That's where he's gonna start adding 20, 30 goals a
Yeah.
season. It's gonna be like, wow, he has this game in a chokehold.
Yeah.
But even if we look past that, right? The performance that he put over these two legs. I mean, Inzaghi literally came out and said we were triple teaming him. I haven't seen a player like this in the last 8-9 years.
Sure.
That's all the praise you can get.
Listen, there's a famous quote, right, that Larry Bird said when he faced Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
They lost, right? And Michael Jordan gave the Celtics 60 points. And Larry Bird said, yo, I thought that was God on earth.
No,
You
he
know
said
what
I
I
thought
mean?
that was Black Jesus.
I thought that was the Black Jesus. And
No, he
that's
said,
how,
he said that wasn't Michael Jordan. That was God disguised as
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
whatever he said, right? That's how the Inter players were feeling about playing against Lamine Yamal.
Yeah.
I know they're absolutely relieved they got through that. DeMarco in the second leg literally played like he knew his family are watching and said, nah, I'm not letting this young boy violate me. He was fouling. I don't know how he did not get booked. He was fouling. He was all over him.
I thought every time he got the
But-
ball, I thought he was going to score.
They were trying to triple team him. He was going through triple teams. He has made everybody look at their winger at their football club and be like, why can't you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why can't you dribble past the double team?
Yeah.
You know, why can't you? The level, I haven't seen a player like probably since Messi, and even the way Messi used to dribble, sometimes he used to do combinations and stuff. Like, I haven't seen a player who just every one-on-one is it's basically successful. It feels like he's gonna go past you regardless. And that's one-on-ones. He's doing it with 3-on-1s. You know what I mean? Like, he's just getting the ball and walking past players like they're not even there, with his head up, looking to create, looking to see what's going on. It's a special type of player, and there's nobody comparable to him talent-wise in the game right now.
I agree.
I'm telling you, this guy is he's not normal. And it's funny, he lost and people are walking away saying, yeah, this is the best player. This is the best player in the game. No one's even bothering to run agendas. You're talking about his chances and stuff.
That's what
no
you
one
mean.
even,
Yeah. Like,
no one even thinking about that. It's like, we know what you are going to do to the game of football in the next few years is going to be absolutely scary. And I know people say, well, that's him out of the Ballon d'Or talks and blah, 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 blah. Listen, that Ballon d'Or will come for him sooner or later. It's a World Cup year next year. He might start doing something
I'm
crazy.
not thinking about one Ballon d'Or with him, bro. That brother, if he continues where he's going, he's winning 3 or 4,
it's
bro.
not,
Easy.
it's genuinely not normal how much, especially, bro, he dribbles like one of the best players you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he creates like KDB.
Yeah.
He creates
Did you see
like a clip
the
like
cross
KDB.
that Lewandowski missed.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got that
Bro,
out of his feet to Lewandowski's head like that.
He creates.
He was trapped in a corner by like 3 guys, and he still managed to put it on Noah's head.
I'm telling you, like, the beauty behind Lionel Messi was that Messi created like KDB, scored like Ronaldo, and dribbled like Maradona. Do you know what I mean? So it's different. Lamine's obviously not there yet, but if he can start scoring, as you're saying, what else can't he do in the game?
Yeah.
Bro, he's got Travellas, he's got crossing, he's got passing, he's got IQ. He's one thing that nobody talks about is how athletically gifted he is, by the way. That's how he's walking past people. I saw them, remember when people comparing to Mahrez? We both loved Mahrez.
Yeah.
But
He's
he
like
hasn't
Mahrez
got
on
this.
crack, bro.
He hasn't got this. Mahrez didn't have this athleticism, bro. It's just, phew, I'm going back. I don't even think Lamine Yamal stepped in foot into a gym and done an upper body workout yet.
Yeah.
Imagine when I hope he doesn't bulk up, but imagine when he just starts getting a bit more like core strength, where if you do get side to him, you're bouncing off. The sky's the limit.
You know, the only
for
way I
this
can
guy.
describe him, the way he played against Inter, he was possessed.
It's a kid in the playground.
No, he actually played possessed. Bro.
Yeah.
Like, it genuinely felt like it's one of them ones, like, everybody get the hell out of the way. I kept saying, like, when I was watching him, just pass to Yamal, bro. Stop trying to force it down the middle or go down to Rafinha. Allow Rafinha. Give the ball to Yamal. It don't matter how many guys you put on him. He's going to create something for you, bro.
Lamine Yamal's already earned the respect that any manager, even if Flick was to leave, any manager that walks into Barcelona won't try and change him.
Oh, yeah, impossible.
Won't try and change. You're not going to see anything. You're going to just say, this is who you build around. You let that person do what they want to do. And that is only given to the most special players. That's given to... Even Neymar had to wait. He wasn't getting that at Barcelona. He had to be on the left-hand side. And, you know what I mean? It was Messi.
Fair, though,
it was Messi's
Messi
team.
there,
no, that's why. at PSG, look what he did.
Yeah.
He was anyway. He wanted to be
Yeah.
Zidane's,
Yeah.
Maradona's, and all the Ronaldo at Man United. Go and do whatever you want to do. You want to be on the right, left, up front. I'll do it. Rooney, sorry. You know, that's what the most special players have got to do. The rest of you, play your role, please. Thank you very much. Lamine Yamal's earned there at 17 years old that no matter who comes in, he is the system of FC Barcelona.
That's crazy.
Let's not take it lightly, man. This is
crazy,
different.
man. How about Dumfries?
Hey, big shout out to him, man. Yo, listen, it's been a great
That's
season.
one of the best performances by fullback, wingback, Champions League we've seen, bro.
It's been an unbelievable year for attacking fullbacks in the Champions League.
yeah,
Do you know
he
what I mean?
went
We're
stocks
back.
back
We're back. You know, Mendes, Hakimi, Dumfries. Hey, Balde, man, I'm sorry, man. You should have been you as well, but you
facts.
missed out. But it's been an incredible year for them. But Dumfries, honestly, yeah, man. Big respect.
guy's a locomotive,
Five
bro.
goals and assists in that they couldn't handle his power.
Nah,
and
he's
that
a
was
freight train, bro.
that was when you look at it, and I'm not saying Balde would have locked him off, but maybe he would have made him think a little bit more. Maybe if Balde is playing, Dumfries doesn't go forward as much because you know Balde is going to come the other way as well.
Does,
so
bro. I can't lie. Dumfries, bro. That guy's
Yeah.
That's Mycon reincarnated,
Yeah.
bro. I swear I was watching Mycon again, bro. Look, big, powerful wingback like that.
say it,
Huh?
say it,
Say what?
say it. Why are you comparing it? To
Oh,
me?
you allow it.
Say it.
They're inter wingbacks. That's
I know
why.
you want to
Get
say
out
it.
of here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you guys on my own show.
Say it. Say it.
Dumfries, man. Yeah. Hey, Dumfries is a freight train, bro. That guy is terrifying. That's one of them ones I always say, like, if I was a defender and I had to go up against someone like that,
Yeah.
I'm stepping out the way.
No,
man. I'm
unbelievable
stepping out the way.
performance. That's a performance that puts you in the, you
But you know
know,
what it is?
into folklore. Like we
No,
remember
of course,
them.
of course.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
but you know what it is with Dumfries and DeMarco, and I guess it kind of goes back to what you're saying. This is the blueprint for how to play three at the back. Simone Inzaghi has put out the blueprint for how to master that formation.
Of course.
That's it. The way Inter play with the three at the back, I've seen Conte do it. I've seen what's his name,
Tuchel.
Van Gaal do it. Tuchel. This is it, bro. Literally to a T. He has these guys trained meticulously. You're saying everyone knows their role. Because every single player was bought for the purpose of this formation, bro. There isn't like, oh, he's just playing wing back because he has to, or Dumfries is really a fullback playing as a. Nah, every one of these guys are specialists, bro. Masters of their trade. It is ridiculous.
It's that formation takes time. That formation takes time. You have to get the players that understand it.
100%. But you also have to have the players that can play it.
Yeah, that can play it, because even when you look at those two centre backs that are with the three, so you have the centre back who's just there.
Yeah.
Those two centre backs are basically fullbacks.
Yeah, Bastoni plays a fullback.
Yeah, but they're basically fullbacks, and then you've got them man. But it's incredible how he does it, because the fluidity of it is brilliant. Because 3-4-3s or 3-5-2 whatever are usually synonymous with being rigid.
Yeah.
And just because I'm saying the word structured does not mean it's rigid.
It's
very fluid. It's structure doesn't mean rigid. It's very structured in how they're moving around.
Yeah.
But it's very fluid within it as well.
Who do you think is the most
Marcus Thuram pulls up on the right. He pulls up on the left. He's holding the ball up.
Yeah. Who do you think is the most important player or players in that system?
I think
it's the wingbacks.
the wingbacks are always gonna feel like the ones in that kind of formation. But I always do think you need, when you have that formation, your striker has to be able to hold the ball up.
100%.
And you look at Man United, for example, or China, you can't, you cannot play that formation with Rasmus Højlund up front. You just cannot. And I think Marcus Thuram is going. I don't think I'm going to say he's under the radar, because I think people are starting to understand. But his importance to that team is unbelievable.
I thought it was a 9 masterclass from Thuram.
Yeah, I know Martinez is the kind of the guy that maybe they look to in the bigger moment, whatever. But Marcus Thuram, the way he plays the game up there, the way he holds the ball, the way he brings others into play, the way he's allowed to be an out ball, and you have the understanding that he is going to be able to do something with that. You have the trust in him. It goes a long way. So I know the fullbacks, DeMarco and Dumfries, especially after this tie, are going to get the attention, and you always think about that for that formation. But that 9 has to be able to relieve you out of pressure. And I think Marcus Thuram is actually their most important player, bro.
I hear
at the moment. We can't overlook Bastoni, how good he is. I mean, he's unbelievable, and I don't want people to try and give him the back 3 tax. That's what you tried to give Antonio Rudiger. And he said, all right, I'm going to go win Champions League in a back 2. So Bastoni is incredible. He is an incredible player, honestly. Like the height on him, he can do last ditch tackles.
His
He's a
passing
decent
is a
mover. He's
joke,
passing.
dude, he's another one too on the ball. He's
Brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant.
he's right.
Honestly, but yeah, man, I think Marcus Thuram for me, bro. I'm telling you, them buying displays as well, man.
Yeah, nah. I told you you 2 weeks ago. I said for me, he's been better than Lautaro this season.
Yeah.
I think he's been their best center forward.
He cooked Araujo. Araujo bro.
Yeah, he killed Araujo off, man.
Araujo, you just slashed like 20 mil off your price tag, bro.
If we look at a few stats just quickly, because you actually brought this one up for me, and I think you just didn't have the teams last week, but every Champions League final held in Munich has seen a team win Europe's premier club competition for the first time. 79 was Nottingham Forest, 93 was Marseille, 97 was Borussia Dortmund, 2012 was Chelsea. So in that sense, it bodes well for PSG, who are looking for their first trophy. However, I always think that in the Champions League, a team that kind of returns with the same core to a second final, first of all, they usually end up losing the first one. Think of Chelsea in 08, City in 21. There's a few other examples, right? But the second go around with the same core, of course, it almost always feels like a redemption.
Milan.
We're more ready. Yeah, Milan as well, too, 05 to 07. And that kind of bodes well for that Inter team because they have the experience. They have the heartbreak fresh in their mind. PSG, yeah, they went to the final in 2020. Marquinhos is the only guy still from that team. But if you look at it, and of course, I'm sure we'll do a preview closer to the game, who do you see early on as the early favorite for this? Where do you see this going?
I'm hoping, as I said, I'm rooting for Dembele. I really want him to win it. I think it's such a good redemption story. I think a lot of people need to look at his story. After the World Cup final, it was looking like, yo, it's finished for this guy. He's bounced back. He's gotten over his injuries. He looks like he's taking things more serious. And he's gone on to become one of the best players in the world. I think it's just a mad story, especially from the shadows. So I'd love him to win it. But I am leaning towards Inter at the moment. It's because of what you said. It's the same core that lost in 2023.
2023, yeah.
It's the same core that lost in 2023. It's the same manager. They're going to probably miss out on the Serie A. Maybe if Conte and Napoli get it done. So I think they're going to have that extra hunger to make this season worthwhile. Otherwise, they would have lost that final hurdle at every point in this season.
Yeah, Leverkusen vibes.
Yeah, so I think Inter are going to do it. They got the experience. They got the know-how. It's some people's last run. People like Mickey, Cherby, as you mentioned. Who was the other one that you said is... you said somebody else is...
In terms of older players.
Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu, exactly. So I think it's the last go-around for some of these guys. I think Simone Inzaghi is the best cup manager in the game at the moment. So I'm going to lean towards Inter.
You know, it's so funny because I think the complete opposite of you. I want Inter to do it. Yes. I love Inter. Like, I think the story is beautiful. I think the older players, I really want to see them bow out one last go. And I think Inzaghi, he deserves that trophy. Since he's come to Inter, he's won everything but this one. He's come so close. But something is telling me it's PSG's year, bro. Something is telling me, like, the football that they're playing is going to be rewarded. It's going to be a trouble year if they do it. Something is telling me PSG. And it would just complete the whole Mbappe saga, to be honest with you, of him leaving and PSG winning the trophy at the first go-around. Yeah. I hope it's Inter, but I think it'll be PSG, so it's funny.
Hey, let's go. Let's go, man.
Let us know, guys, in the comment section down below, who wins the Champions League this year? What did you guys make of the semifinals? Put it all in the comment section down below. As always, shout out BR for powering this podcast. You can see our clips on their platforms, X, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, all of that. Like, share, and subscribe. Go check out Cam's stuff. Go check out my stuff, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.